In the heart of the Galactic Council's grand chamber, bright lights shone down on a diverse group of alien leaders. They came from many planets, each with their own unique customs and looks. Some had shimmering scales, while others had skin that glowed in different colors. Today, all eyes were on a single ship that floated in space, heading toward the Council. The ship was old and battered, its hull marked with scars from countless battles. It was a human warship, a relic of a time long past. As it approached, whispers filled the chamber. Many aliens looked at each other, their eyes filled with disbelief and laughter. "What is that old thing?" one alien said, his voice dripping with mockery. "It looks like it belongs in a museum." Among the council members, a brave human ambassador named Sarah stood tall. She had traveled far to represent Earth, wearing a crisp uniform that showed her pride. But as she listened to the laughter around her, her heart sank. Sarah knew that humans had a rich history of fighting for their survival, but today she felt the weight of their past pressing down on her. The council leader, a tall alien with green skin named Zorak, raised a hand for silence. "Let us welcome our guests," he announced, trying to regain control of the room. "The humans are here to share their knowledge with us." As the laughter quieted, Sarah stepped forward, her confidence shining through. "We come in peace," she said, her voice steady. "This warship may look old, but it holds powerful technology and a proud history. We have much to learn from each other." The aliens exchanged skeptical glances. Zorak's expression remained unreadable, but Sarah could sense the doubt in the air. "What could these humans possibly teach us?" An alien with 4 eyes whispered to his neighbor. Determined to change their minds, Sarah invited the council to visit the ship. "You will see its true power," she said, hoping her words would inspire curiosity. "Join us, and we will show you what it can do." After a moment of hesitation, Zorak nodded. "Very well. We shall see this warship." The council members followed Sarah to the docking bay, their steps echoing in the vast hall. As they approached the ship, the laughter began again, but Sarah focused on her goal. She would prove them wrong. When they reached the warship, the aliens gawked at its massive size. It was not sleek or shiny, but its presence was commanding. Sarah led the group inside, where dim lights illuminated the control room. "Welcome aboard," she said, trying to inject some enthusiasm into her voice. As they entered, the humans on board greeted their guests with nods. The crew, made up of brave men and women, was ready to demonstrate the ship's capabilities. Sarah could see the council leaders still whispering among themselves, rolling their eyes at the outdated controls and equipment. "Prepare for a demonstration," Sarah commanded. The crew sprang into action, their movements quick and practiced. They powered up the ship, and suddenly the room buzzed with energy. "Watch closely," Sarah said as the ship began to come alive. Displays lit up, showing maps of star systems and schematics of the ship's defenses. The engines roared to life, vibrating beneath their feet. At that moment, the laughter stopped. The aliens leaned closer, eyes wide with surprise. The ship's capabilities began to unfold. It showed off its advanced targeting systems and defensive shields, technology that many alien races had never seen before. Zorak's eyes narrowed as he observed the demonstration. "Perhaps there is more to this ship than we thought," he muttered, his tone shifting from mockery to intrigue. As the demonstration continued, Sarah felt a spark of hope. Maybe, just maybe, she could change their minds. She would show the council that humans were not just a relic of the past, but a force to be reckoned with. Little did she know, the laughter from earlier would soon turn into respect. But that journey was just beginning. The future held many surprises, and the council was about to learn that underestimating humans could be their greatest mistake. The chamber buzzed with excitement as the Galactic Council gathered again, but this time, the atmosphere was different. The laughter that had echoed just hours before was replaced with curiosity. The human warship, once mocked, had shown its power, and many aliens were now eager to learn more. Sarah, the human ambassador, stood at the front, her heart racing with anticipation. "Welcome back," she began, her voice steady. "Today we will show you what our ship can really do." She gestured toward the large windows where the warship floated majestically in space, its metal surface gleaming under the light of distant stars. As the council members took their seats, Sarah felt a wave of determination wash over her. She was ready to prove that humans were not. Zorak quickly regained control. "We must take action!" "Sarah, can your warship assist us?" "Yes." Sarah replied, adrenaline pumping through her veins. "We are ready for battle. We need to get to the ship immediately." The council members rushed to follow her. As they moved through the corridors, Sarah's mind raced. She had shown them the ship's power, but now it was time to put that power to the test. When they reached the warship, the crew was already in action. Men and women moved swiftly, preparing for combat. The atmosphere was charged with energy as Sarah took her place at the command center. "Status report!" she shouted, her voice cutting through the chaos. The crew responded quickly. "Hostile fleet consists of 5 ships. They are armed and approaching rapidly." Zorak stood beside her, a look of determination on his face. "We must defend the council at all costs," he declared. Sarah nodded, feeling a surge of confidence. "Prepare to engage. Let's show them what we can do." As the warship powered up, the screens filled with data about the approaching enemy fleet. Sarah could see the ships on the display. Dark, menacing vessels with weapons glinting in the light of distant stars. They were closing in fast. "Target the lead ship," Sarah commanded, her heart racing. "Let's show them our firepower." The crew worked quickly, locking onto the enemy vessel. "Firing!" someone shouted, and with a bright flash, a beam of energy shot from the warship, striking the lead ship and causing it to shudder. The alien ships returned fire, and alarms blared throughout the warship. Sarah gripped the controls, feeling the impact of the enemy shots. "Shields up!" she shouted, and the protective barrier surrounded the ship, flickering but holding strong. "Excellent work," Zorak shouted, impressed by the human crew's response. "We must keep fighting!" As the battle intensified, the council members watched in awe. They were witnessing the strength of the human warship in real time. The crew continued to fire at the enemy, hitting one ship after another. The confidence in the room grew with every successful shot. But the enemy was relentless. A volley of shots struck the warship's shields, causing them to flicker dangerously. "We need to reinforce the shields!" a crew member yelled, urgency in his voice. "Divert power from the engines to the shields," Sarah commanded. The crew worked swiftly, and the ship's systems adjusted to the new order. The warship shook as enemy fire continued, but the crew held their ground. Sarah's determination grew. She had to protect her new allies and prove that humans were not to be underestimated. "Let's finish this!" she yelled, rallying the crew. "Target the remaining ships and fire at will." With renewed energy, the crew launched a final barrage. The beams of energy tore through space, striking the remaining alien ships. One by one, they exploded in bright flashes of light, illuminating the dark void. As the last enemy vessel was destroyed, a cheer erupted on the warship. Sarah looked at Zorak, who was smiling for the first time. "You did it, humans!" he exclaimed, his respect for them clear. Sarah felt a rush of relief and pride. They had faced danger head-on and emerged victorious. The council members now understood the strength and bravery of the human spirit. But in the back of her mind, Sarah knew this battle was just the beginning. The galaxy was vast, and many more challenges lay ahead. Together, they would face whatever came next, united as allies in a dangerous universe. The warship floated silently in the dark void of space, but inside, tension crackled like electricity. Sarah, the human ambassador, stood at the command center, surrounded by her crew and the leaders of the Galactic Council. They had just defeated a hostile fleet, but they knew that the danger was far from over. The enemy had retreated, but Sarah felt certain they would return, stronger and angrier. "Status report!" Sarah commanded, her voice firm. "Scanners show no immediate threats, but we should remain alert," a crew member replied, his eyes glued to the screens filled with data. Zorak, the council leader, turned to Sarah, his green skin glistening under the lights. "What should we do next? We cannot afford to be caught off guard again." Sarah took a deep breath, her mind racing. "We need to strengthen our defenses and prepare for another attack. We should also send scouts to look for any signs of the enemy fleet." As the crew moved into action, Zorak approached Sarah. "You have proven that humans are brave and strong in battle. We want to learn from you. Can you teach us how to fight?" Sarah felt a rush of pride. "Absolutely. We can work together to prepare your forces. Let's start training." The warship's crew quickly set up a training area. They gathered council members and began to teach them the basics of combat and tactics. Sarah led the training, demonstrating how to operate the ship's weapons and how to work as a team. At first, the aliens struggled to keep up. Many had never fired a weapon before, and their movements were awkward. But Sarah was patient, guiding them through each step. "Focus on teamwork," she encouraged. "We must rely on each other in battle." As the training continued, Sarah saw the council members begin to improve. They started to work together, finding their rhythm. Zorak surprised everyone with his skill, hitting targets with precision. "I never imagined I could do this," he admitted, grinning. Hours passed as they practiced, but fatigue did not set in. Instead, determination filled the air. Sarah felt a sense of unity growing among them. They were no longer just humans and aliens, they were allies preparing for a fight. Just as they finished the training session, alarms blared again, cutting through the excitement. "Incoming ships!" a crew member shouted, his face pale. "Take your positions," Sarah yelled. The crew scrambled, readying themselves for battle. Zorak joined her at the command center, his expression serious. "This is it. We must show them what we've learned." As the enemy ships appeared on the scanners, Sarah felt a surge of adrenaline. "Prepare to engage! Let's defend our alliance!" The warship powered up, weapons primed and ready. The enemy fleet, larger than before, approached menacingly. This time they had reinforcements, and Sarah could see their dark ships filling the screen. "Lock onto the lead ship," she ordered. The crew worked quickly, targeting the enemy vessel. "Fire!" The ship shook as the warship unleashed its firepower, beams of energy cutting through space. The first shot struck the enemy lead ship, causing it to explode in a brilliant flash. Cheers erupted among the crew, but Sarah knew they had to stay focused. "Keep firing!" she commanded. "We can't let up now." The battle raged on, chaos unfolding around them. The enemy ships retaliated, firing back with ferocity. Sarah felt the impact of their shots against the warship's shields, but they held strong. She could see Zorak and the other council members fighting alongside the crew, their earlier training paying off. "Cover me!" Zorak shouted as he fired at an enemy ship, his face set in determination. Sarah marveled at how far they had come together. "Switch to evasive maneuvers," she yelled, guiding the ship as it dodged incoming fire. The crew responded quickly, and the warship twisted and turned through the battlefield. With each passing moment, they fought harder. The council members were no longer just leaders, they were warriors. Sarah felt a surge of pride as she saw them working as a team, their confidence growing with every successful strike. Finally, the tide of battle began to shift. One by one, the enemy ships fell, destroyed by their combined efforts. The atmosphere in the warship shifted from fear to triumph. As the last enemy ship exploded in a dazzling display of light, the crew erupted into cheers. Zorak raised his arms in victory, his eyes shining with excitement. "We did it! Together!" Sarah smiled, feeling a wave of relief wash over her. They had faced the danger head-on and emerged victorious. In that moment, she knew they had forged a bond that would last beyond the stars. But even as they celebrated, Sarah couldn't shake the feeling that this battle was just the beginning. The galaxy was vast, and many challenges lay ahead. But for now, they had each other. And together, they could face anything that came their way. The warship floated in the silence of space, the aftermath of the battle still fresh in everyone's minds. The crew and council members were celebrating their hard-fought victory, laughter and cheers echoing through the ship. Sarah, the human ambassador, stood at the command center, her heart swelling with pride. They had faced danger together and come out stronger. As the crew cleaned up the control room, Zorak approached Sarah. His green skin glimmered in the lights and his eyes sparkled with excitement. "Today was incredible. I never thought we could achieve so much in such a short time." Sarah smiled, grateful for his enthusiasm. "We did it together. This victory proves that humans and aliens can unite for a common goal. We are stronger as allies." Zorak nodded, his expression turning serious. "But we must not forget the danger that still lurks. The enemy will not stop after one defeat. We need to prepare for the future." "I agree," Sarah replied, her voice steady. "We should continue training and work on building a solid defense strategy. The galaxy is vast, and we need to be ready for anything." As they spoke, other council members gathered around, eager to join the conversation. "What can we do to help?" one alien asked, his eyes filled with determination. "We should set up regular training sessions," Sarah suggested. "And we need to share knowledge about our technologies. The more we learn from each other, the stronger we will be." The council members nodded in agreement, their enthusiasm palpable. They began discussing plans for future training, eager to improve their skills and strengthen their alliance. Days turned into weeks as the warship became a hub of learning and cooperation. Humans and aliens trained side by side, sharing their knowledge and techniques. Sarah was amazed at how quickly they adapted. The council members embraced the new skills, their confidence growing with each training session. One evening, after a long day of drills, Zorak invited Sarah to the council's dining area. "We should celebrate our progress," he said, a smile on his face. "Let's have a feast to honor our new friendship." Sarah felt a warmth spread through her. "That sounds wonderful! I'd love to get to know everyone better." As they prepared for the feast, the atmosphere was filled with excitement. The dining area was decorated with colorful lights, and the smell of alien cuisine filled the air. Council members and crew members mingled, laughter ringing out as they shared stories of their respective cultures. When the feast began, Sarah sat at the head of the table, surrounded by her new friends. Zorak raised a glass, his voice strong and clear. "To our victory and to new friendships. May our alliance grow stronger with each passing day." Everyone raised their glasses, echoing his sentiment. "To friendship!" As the meal continued, Sarah found herself enjoying the diverse dishes, each more intriguing than the last. An alien dish made from bright purple fruits had a sweet flavor, while another dish was spicy and vibrant. She couldn't help but smile at the differences that brought them all together. Throughout the evening, stories flowed as freely as the drinks. Zorak shared tales of his adventures, and Sarah spoke of her own experiences on Earth. They laughed at the similarities and differences, bonding over their shared love for exploration and discovery. "Do you think humans will explore more of the galaxy?" one alien asked, his eyes wide with curiosity. "Absolutely," Sarah replied, her voice full of excitement. "We have only just begun. There are so many wonders out there waiting for us." The council members listened intently, their fascination clear. "And we will join you," Zorak promised. "Together we will see what lies beyond our worlds." As the night wore on, Sarah felt a deep sense of connection with her new friends. They were no longer just representatives of different races. They were allies, united by their shared experiences and goals. When the feast finally came to an end, Zorak stood once more. "We have faced danger and celebrated victories, but this friendship is the greatest achievement of all. Let us promise to protect each other and explore the universe together." Sarah nodded, her heart full. "I promise. We are stronger together, and I look forward to our future adventures." As they shared one last toast, Sarah felt a spark of hope. Together they could face any challenge that lay ahead. The galaxy was vast and full of mysteries, but with their newfound friendship, they were ready to take on whatever came their way. With laughter and joy in their hearts, they stepped into the future, eager to explore the stars together. Ilara, the leader, raised her hand for silence. "We will issue an ultimatum. We need to make it clear that any further violations will result in severe consequences." The council agreed, and Zorak began to draft the message. "Tell them to stop their exploration or face the full might of the council. This will show them we are serious." Meanwhile, on Earth, David prepared to meet with the council. He knew the ultimatum would change everything. He hoped to reason with them and prevent a war. As he stepped into the Grand Chamber, he was greeted by the eyes of many alien leaders. "Welcome, Ambassador David," Ilara said, her voice steady. "We are here to discuss your people's recent actions." David nodded, trying to remain calm. "Thank you for having me. I understand there have been concerns about human exploration." Zorak crossed his arms. "Concerns? Your ship entered our restricted space. We view this as a serious threat. We will not tolerate any further violations. You must stop exploring our territories immediately." David felt a chill run down his spine. "We did not intend to offend anyone. Our explorations are meant to understand the galaxy, not to conquer it." "Understanding can lead to danger," Zorak snapped. "Your technological advancements are impressive, but they can also be a threat. We cannot risk our safety for your curiosity." David took a deep breath. "I assure you, humans do not seek conflict. We want to learn and grow alongside other species." The council members exchanged glances, but Zorak remained firm. "Then your message must be clear. If you do not comply with our demands, we will declare war." The words hung heavy in the air. David's heart raced. He knew he had to act fast. "Can't we negotiate? Surely there is a way to work together. We could share knowledge instead of fighting." Ilara leaned forward, her eyes thoughtful. "Your proposal is interesting, but trust must be established first. The council is not ready to take such a risk." As the meeting continued, David pushed for understanding. He shared stories of humanity's struggles and successes, emphasizing their desire for peace. He spoke of Earth's diverse cultures and how they valued friendship and cooperation. Slowly, some council members began to soften. Lyra nodded. Perhaps we need to listen to their side more. After all, they are not the only ones who have made mistakes in the past. Zorak, however, remained unconvinced. Trust is earned, not given. Until humans prove they can respect our boundaries, we will stand firm in our ultimatum. The meeting ended, and David felt a sense of urgency. He returned to Earth with the Council's message weighing heavily on him. The ultimatum had been issued, and the clock was ticking. On Earth, news of the ultimatum spread quickly. People were shocked and scared. Some leaders called for war preparations, while others pushed for diplomatic efforts. David knew he had to rally the people for peace. Now is the time to come together, he announced in a speech. We must show the Council that humanity seeks cooperation, not conflict. Let us prove that we can be trusted. The response was mixed, but David remained hopeful. He believed that if humanity united, they could show the Galactic Council their true intentions. The fate of their future rested on a fragile thread, and David was determined to hold it steady. As the days passed, the tension in the galaxy grew. Both sides prepared for what could come next. Would they choose war, or could they find a path to peace? Only time would tell, but David would do everything in his power to guide humanity toward the right choice. The tension in the galaxy reached a breaking point. On Earth, news of the Galactic Council's ultimatum spread like wildfire. People were scared, and the air was thick with anxiety. David, the ambassador, felt the weight of the world on his shoulders. He had tried to explain humanity's peaceful intentions, but now it seemed that war was inevitable. In the Grand Council chamber, the leaders gathered again. Zorak paced, his frustration evident. We cannot allow humans to disrespect our authority. They must understand that we are serious. It is time to act. Ilara, the leader, looked around the room. We must make a decision. A clear message must be sent. If they do not comply with our ultimatum, we declare war. The other members murmured in agreement, fear and anger mingling in their hearts. They had kept peace for 3,000 years, but now they felt threatened by humanity's growth. As David prepared for another meeting with the Council, he hoped for a miracle. I can't let them go to war, he whispered to himself. There must be a way to convince them. When he arrived at the Council chamber, he sensed the heavy atmosphere. The members sat with stern faces, ready for confrontation. Ambassador David, Ilara began, her voice serious. We have made our decision. The Council will declare war on humanity if you do not stop your explorations. David's heart sank. But please, there must be another way. We can work together, share knowledge, and build trust. War will only bring destruction. Zorak interjected. You had your chance. You chose to ignore our warnings. Now we must defend ourselves. Feeling desperate, David pleaded, we can learn from each other. Humans have made mistakes, but we strive for peace. We don't want war, we want friendship. Ilara paused, considering his words. Your words are noble, but they come too late. Our people are afraid? Trust is broken. The Council members whispered among themselves, torn between fear and the hope for peace. Zorak, however, stood firm. We cannot show weakness. Declaring war is the only option. We must protect our future. David knew he had to act quickly. If you declare war, it will not just affect humans. Many innocent lives will be lost on both sides. The galaxy will suffer! But Zorak's resolve did not waver. Then let it be known that humanity had its chance. We will not let you threaten our peace any longer. With a heavy heart, David left the meeting. He knew the Council's decision was final. As he returned to Earth, he felt a sense of dread wash over him. How could he prepare humanity for war? On Earth, panic set in. Leaders held emergency meetings discussing military strategies and defense plans. Some advocated for immediate retaliation, while others wanted to seek more diplomatic solutions. David stood before the leaders trying to maintain calm. We must prepare, but we also need to remember our goal, peace. Let's not lose sight of that. Some listened, but many were filled with anger. How can we trust them after this? One leader shouted. They have declared war on us! David understood their fear, but he urged them to stay united. If we show strength and determination, we can prove that we are not a threat. We can also show the Council that humanity seeks to protect itself. Days passed, and both sides prepared for the inevitable conflict. Humans built defenses, while the Galactic Council readied their fleets. As the war machines began to move, the atmosphere grew darker. On the edge of the galaxy, the first battle was set to begin. David stood on Earth, looking up at the stars. He knew this was not the future he wanted, but he hoped that humanity could find a way to survive. As the two sides faced each other, the galaxy held its breath. The fate of countless lives rested on the brink of war. Would humanity rise to the challenge, or would they fall into chaos? Only time would reveal the outcome, but one thing was certain: the conflict had begun. The dark void of space was filled with tension as both the Galactic Council and humanity prepared for battle. The two sides were set to clash, and the fate of many hung in the balance. On Earth, David and the military leaders gathered in a war room, reviewing strategies for the fight ahead. David's heart raced with worry. He wanted to find a way to stop the war, but time was running out. "Ambassador, we need to focus on defense," one of the generals said, pointing to a holographic map of the star systems. "The Council's fleet is vast and powerful. We cannot underestimate them." David nodded, knowing the urgency of the situation. "I understand. But remember, our goal is not just to fight back. We need to survive and protect our people without escalating the violence further." As the military leaders discussed their plans, David felt a deep sense of dread. He wished he could find a way to communicate with the Council again, to convince them that war would bring only pain. But the Council had made their choice. In the depths of space, the Galactic Council's fleet, a magnificent display of warships and advanced technology, moved towards Earth. Zorak stood at the command center, his eyes fierce with determination. "Today, we will show humanity the consequences of their actions. They must learn respect." Ilara, sitting beside him, looked conflicted. "This is not what I wanted, Zorak. I still believe we could have found another way." But Zorak shook his head. "Peace is no longer an option. We must act decisively to protect our people." The day of the battle arrived. As the galactic ships approached Earth, David watched from the command center, his heart heavy. He had seen the power of their fleet and knew the danger they faced. "Prepare our defenses!" he shouted, trying to rally the crew. As the Council's ships entered Earth's atmosphere, alarms blared. David's team scrambled to their stations. The tension was palpable, and every moment felt like an eternity. Suddenly, the first blast rang out. A beam of energy shot from a Council ship, striking one of humanity's defense stations. The explosion lit up the sky, sending shockwaves through David's heart. "Return fire!" he ordered, trying to keep his focus. Human ships rose into the sky, armed and ready. They fired back at the Council fleet, and for a moment, hope flickered in David's heart. But the Council's ships were powerful and well-coordinated. One by one, humanity's defenses began to fall. In the chaos of battle, David watched as friends and allies fought bravely. But the reality was grim. The Council's ships had technology that humans could not match. As losses mounted, despair started to creep in. Meanwhile, Zorak commanded the fleet from his ship, feeling the rush of victory. "Push forward! Show them the strength of the Council!" he shouted. As the battle raged on, Lyra observed the destruction with sadness. "This isn't victory," she whispered to herself. "This is tragedy." She felt a growing doubt about their decision to go to war. Back on Earth, David refused to give up hope. "We need to regroup and find a way to counterattack," he urged the commanders. They quickly devised a plan to focus their firepower on a single Council ship, hoping to turn the tide of the battle. With renewed determination, humanity's ships gathered their strength. They targeted Zorak's flagship, hoping that if they could strike it down, it might force the Council to reconsider their approach. The moment came. As David shouted commands, their ships launched a barrage of fire. The beams struck Zorak's ship, and for the first time, the Council felt the weight of humanity's fight. Zorak staggered, realizing the tide was shifting. "What is happening? They are stronger than we thought," he shouted. But just as victory seemed within reach, the Council retaliated fiercely. A wave of energy washed over the battlefield, causing destruction on both sides. The screams of the injured echoed through space, and David felt his heart break. Amid the chaos, he had an idea. "We need to communicate. I have to reach out to them." He rushed to his ship, hoping to send a message to Ilara. "We cannot let this end in total destruction." As David prepared his message, the battle raged on. He knew that every moment counted. The future of humanity and the Council rested on a knife's edge, and he had to find a way to bring an end to the violence before it was too late. The battle raged on, and the space around Earth was filled with chaos. David worked quickly, sending his message to Alara, hoping for a response. "We cannot let this war destroy us all!" he shouted into the communication device, his voice filled with urgency. As he sent the message, explosions lit up the sky. He could see both human and council ships taking damage. He felt a deep sadness for all the lives lost. "Please let them hear me," he whispered. Meanwhile, on the council flagship, Alara received David's message. She read his words carefully, feeling the weight of the situation. "We are on the brink of total destruction," she thought. What if he is right? Zorak, however, was furious. "We cannot show weakness now. We must finish this fight!" He slammed his fist on the console, making the room shake. But Alara stood her ground. "If we continue, we may lose everything. We must find a way to end this." She sent a message back to David, agreeing to meet in a neutral zone for talks. David felt a spark of hope when he received her reply. "This is our chance," he said to his team. "We need to convince them that peace is possible." They quickly gathered their ships and prepared for the meeting. As the human and council ships approached the neutral zone, David's heart raced. He hoped that this meeting could change the course of their future. When they arrived, he stepped onto the platform where Alara awaited him. "Thank you for agreeing to meet," David said, his voice steady despite the chaos around them. "We have lost too much already. We need to talk about a way forward." Alara nodded, her expression serious. "I agree. The loss of life has been tragic. But how can we trust each other again?" David took a deep breath. "Trust takes time, but we can start by working together. We have much to learn from each other. Let's focus on sharing knowledge rather than fighting." Zorak watched from the sidelines, still angry, but also curious. "What guarantee do we have that you will not attack again?" he asked. "We will make a pact," David suggested. "Let's create a treaty that defines our boundaries and establishes peaceful exploration. We can set up communication channels to avoid misunderstandings in the future." Alara considered his proposal. "This is a big step. If we do this, we must stick to the terms. There can be no further attacks from either side." David nodded vigorously. "Agreed. We will do everything in our power to uphold the treaty. We must end the cycle of fear." After much discussion, both sides began drafting the treaty. As they worked together, David felt a sense of relief. He saw the council members slowly softening, realizing that cooperation was the only way forward. Once the treaty was finalized, they signed it together, marking a new beginning. The atmosphere shifted from hostility to cautious optimism. "This is just the start," Alara said, her voice filled with hope. "We can build a better future together." As the ships returned to their home worlds, David felt a sense of accomplishment. The war had brought destruction, but now they had a chance for peace. He knew it would take time to rebuild trust, but he believed in humanity's ability to adapt. On Earth, people celebrated the news of the treaty. David addressed the crowd, sharing the message of hope. "We have chosen peace over war. Together, we can explore the stars and learn from each other. This is the dawn of a new era." As cheers erupted around him, he thought about the future. Humanity and the Galactic Council had faced conflict, but they had also found common ground. David felt proud to be part of this change. In the days that followed, both sides worked on strengthening their relationship. They exchanged knowledge and resources, opening doors to new possibilities. David traveled to the Council's home planet, experiencing their culture and sharing humanity's stories. Slowly but surely, the fear that once defined their interactions began to fade. Trust was rebuilt through dialogue, and a new alliance was formed. As David looked up at the stars, he felt a sense of hope for what lay ahead. The galaxy was vast, and there was so much to discover together. A new era had begun, one built on cooperation, understanding, and the promise of friendship. David smiled, knowing that humanity had risen above the darkness of war. They had found a path toward a brighter future, one where they could explore the galaxy side by side with their former enemies. Peace was not just a dream. It was now a reality,